Well, hello, and thanks for tuning in. I've got a couple very fun guests for us today. We have got Scottie Miller, who is a contestant on Design Star on HGTV, and Warren Kessler, who is a local designer. Now, Scottie, you are with, I want to get this right, so I'm going to read it off my paper. You are with the Charlotte-Mecklenburg School System.
Yep, that's my full-time job.
That's your full-time job?
That's my full-time.
And you also have your own business?
I do. Scott Miller Interiors.
Awesome.
And I work with clients all across the North Carolina and East Coast area.
Fantastic.
Yep.
And then, Warren, you are local.
I am local. I have my own firm, Thomas & Warren Interiors.
Thomas & Warren Interiors. Now, you guys, they're both around here now. Scottie actually lives in Charlotte, but Warren is in the Raleigh-Durham area.
Correct.
But both of you also grew up in North Carolina.
We did. You know, actually, just want to remind everybody, of course, to watch Design Star 3 coming up this Sunday at 9 o'clock on HGTV television. It's going to be a dynamic show. I'm here really to plug that. I mean, let's just, you know, talk about the white elephant in the room. And, I mean, but seriously, it's a great season coming up this year. Some of the most advanced challenges yet, I think, this season. If you're fans of the show or if you've never seen the show before, you definitely want to check it out this year because, I mean, it's just a lot of excitement. But, yes, back to your question.
Yeah.
I did
No, you can do that. Okay. We'll show clips of everything. You're right. I saw some B-roll beforehand.
Right.
It looks like a fun show.
It is. It was a lot of fun. And, you know, growing up in North Carolina, I think, you know, having been influenced by the fact that the furniture market is right down the street from where I live, you know, growing up in Winston-Salem, the Triad area, you know, I think here historically there's been a lot of traditional influence just by the fact that we are in the South and given the architecture of homes. But, you know, I think with cable and the onset of just the whole cultural reference of people coming from up north and coming from different areas to migrate to North Carolina, we started to get maybe a little bit more high-end, a little bit more contemporary views, I think. You know, I don't know if that's been Warren's experience, but it's still very much rooted in tradition here in the city, but every once in a while you get the good fortune of having a client who kind of wants to do something a little bit different. So, you know, traditionally based design is a big influence of what I do, but I also like to marry the best of what's happening in modern. I think when you marry the two of them together, you get something that's clean, contemporary, and something that's happening today, but because it's rooted in tradition, it never gets stale or cold, and it's always familiar to you.
Now, Warren, you and I have talked, and you said that you feel like that very much influenced your work as well, wouldn't you say?
Yes. I grew up in the Hickory and Charlotte area, and I actually, to date myself a little bit, it was back when the furniture market used to be held in High Point and in Hickory, and that seeped into my growing up, I'm sure, and everything, and then grew up in Charlotte, and I mean the old homes that are in Queens Road West and everything, and also when I was a kid, I mean, kids were getting tickets to rock concerts. I was making sure I had my tickets to the ASID Symphony Show House. You know, I wanted to see that. So yes, and it has drastically changed. Scottie's right. I mean, it is the modern design and the way the whole international home market has changed. It's just a wonderful thing to see.
I think cable has had a lot to do with that because people here, you know, we got exposed not just from an, you know, architecture or interior point of view, but culturally, travel, food, different cities, you know. Cable is, I think, brought so much to what might be deemed a remote area, you know, that it just really has broadened, I think, people's perspectives on what's happening out there, what's hot, what the different trends are. Hey, you know, even if it's not what we're talking about, hey, I want to go to Vegas, or hey, I want to go to Colorado just because of the travel network. So I think cable did do a lot to just really influence, you know, people and what they want, as well as the, you know, like me being in Charlotte and it being #2 for banking in the country, we have a lot of Northerners, you know, and they want that urban living.
Right.
And urban living, you're very constricted in terms of what you do. You can't bring a lot of big traditional furniture in a, you know, modest urban type space. So, you know, that's when you have to go to the sleeker, the cleaner, the smaller. Space planning becomes a big issue. So I think cable had a lot to do with what's happening.
And it makes you feel like you can do it. When you see it on TV, I mean, I don't know about, well, you guys obviously have been doing this your whole lives and you get it and that's your passion. For someone like me, Warren knows, Warren and I have job design before, you just feel like it's overwhelming, you know, you don't know where to start. And then you see it on TV and shows like Design Star make it fun to watch, they make it entertaining, you feel like you're kind of part of things.
It definitely makes it more tangible.
And it really makes it, exactly. So I want you guys to be able to talk design a little bit. I'll butt out here for a second. Let me do a little designer to designer questions. Warren has some great questions for you.
All right, cool.
Well, going through design school and everything, and I'm a great fan of the show. When I watch the show, it has that feel of design school and everything. So the camaraderie, but there's competition going on. So talk a little bit about that and how that's like.
Well, you know, we were all, actually my niece encouraged me to do this, okay? She's an avid watcher of HG, and I watch HG television also, but you know, I just probably don't watch as much TV as a normal person, but you know, she really pushed me, Uncle Scottie, you got to do this. you know, there were, I forget how many thousands of tapes in there, and, you know, I actually got a call back, you know, and it was kind of surprising even to me. So, you know, I went out, interviewed, and then when I got the official call that I've been selected, you know, it was pretty exciting. Back to your question, by the time we got to the house, it was kind of like being back in college again. You know, you find out who the cool kids are, who the mean kids are, who you're gonna have to look out for. But you know, I'm pretty laid back. I can get along with anybody, and you know, living in the house, it was cool. It was a good experience.
I know you've got a panel that you've got to be judged by, and all, so that's a little different than doing just for one client.
Absolutely.
So how did that play into your designs, or did that play into your designs? Is that in the back of your mind? Are you trying to please yourself? What?
Well, you know, I think I don't know kind of what your work ethic is in terms of. It's always the client first. A lot of the challenges that you put in, there may or may not be a specific client. It may just be more of a. It's kind of like being in school. We just have a project to do. So, you know, I think when you know that, you just really have to be true to yourself. You know, when you think in terms of trying to design for the masses, you got 10 people that's going to love it. You got 10 people that's going to hate it. You know, you can never do that. So I think whenever you say stay true to yourself, stay true to your design style, I think that's the best thing you do. And knowing that you, given the, you know, time, money, all of the factors going into it, if you know you did the best job you could going into it, then at the end of the day, really, that's all you have.
Now, previous winners, David Bromstead and Kim Miles, have developed their own shows along with HGTV and everything. Have you already got in mind what your take would be for? Well, share that with us.
Well, I think you said you went to design school. I'm actually an engineering major. I studied architectural engineering at North Carolina A&T. Go Aggies, you know, which is right down the street in Greensboro. I got both my undergraduate and master's degree from North Carolina A&T in engineering. Architecture with a design concentration, because I just knew that I was going to design residential customized homes. That was my dream, to be an architect. Once I started working on my master's, I started getting more and more into facilities, and that's how I ended up in the Charlotte area doing what I do. But that design, you know, that creative part of me, I guess, was always still in there. And, you know, people started asking me to do work for them, and it just kind of started to steamroll. So having said that, being that I am an architectural student, I think that it would be great to have a show that focuses on not just the reveal, because that's so, you know, traditionally done on the network, but let's begin with the bones of the house. Let's talk about the house. Let's talk about where it is. Let's talk about when it was built, what was happening at the time, be it the Art Deco movement in Miami, or maybe some of the brownstones that were built in Chicago. You know, let's talk about what was happening then, what was some of the influence, what was some of the colors that were popular for that era, and make a modern concept, but respect the past at the same time. That's kind of my big synergy, is to bring everything together. I think when you can have that marriage between the two, that's absolutely the best design you can come up with.
Okay, I don't mean to cut you off, Warren. We're running out of time. They're telling me in my ear. We're almost out of time.
Too long,
no, you're good. You're good. We had a finite amount of time here anyway. Before we go, though, briefly, I'm talking. I told you to Clive Pierce and Vern Yip next week. What do you think that they'll say about you? What do you think they would? How would they describe you?
I think they'll say that I'm an extremely nice and extremely talented guy.
Okay,
I think that's what they'll say.
Short and to the point. Fantastic. Warren, anything you'd like to add?
No, just congratulations for being selected, and good luck.
Thanks, Warren.
Go Aggies.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys both for coming in.
Thank you,
and thank you all for watching.